This is a big day for humanity, but the news is broadcasting. Reporter is talking about it on Babylon. The Black Dragon Guild has decided to attack the 40th floor of the tower. They said that they're confident that they'll show us the capabilities of a top-tier guild. They've come out of the tower. Sadly, they are empty-handed once again. And once again, the reason for Black Dragon's setback is a man with long hair, wearing a red jacket, and is surrounded by the cameras and reporters. Everyone is taking his pictures like he is a celebrity. It was the top-level hunter and today's main character, the #1 ranked hunter. Once again, Flame Emperor was able to beat the boss on his own. Reporter moves forward to approach him very excitingly. He says, "Hello, Flame Emperor." Flame Emperor also responds with a, "Hello." Reporter starts to appreciate him and talks about his achievements. "Without fail, you've once again set a new record. Since the appearance of the tower and until now, Mr. Flame Emperor, you're still the only one to defeat a boss on your own." It seems like he is not interested at all, and unknowingly, he scratches his ears. But he gets angry when the reporter again calls him Flame Emperor. Reporter continues to ask him questions, but he does not let the reporter complete, and suddenly snatches the mic from reporter's hand. He talks directly to the audience and his fans. "Why don't you change my freaking name first?" All the public gets confused by such a kind of complaint. "I already have a nice name." "Then why does everyone call me with that stupid name?" He shouts at everyone. A loser was sitting in his room and watching him screaming at the live TV. There were several paper cuttings of Flame Emperor on the wall. It looks like he admires the Flame Emperor. Flame Emperor continues to shout to the audience and his fans, "I'm talking about Flame Emperor! Why don't you use my name instead of this shitty nickname? What kind of name is Flame Emperor? Might as well just call me the Plague," which is an insult in Korean and used for the people who make trouble. The loser is still watching the broadcast. He is sitting in a messy room on a mattress. From the broadcast, Flame Emperor says, "I'm going to find the guy who made this nickname and torture him." Reporter apologized to Flame Emperor, but he continues to yell at the live TV. The loser with dark hair picks up his phone and opens HunterNet. In the chat section, people are also talking about Flame Emperor. There's a user with a cat profile. She calls out Flame Emperor and asks everyone if they saw Flame Emperor's interview. "He's acting crazy again." Another user with blonde hair tells everyone, "Leave him be." It's not the first time. Cat Girl says, "The whole world is watching." She uses words more carefully. Blondie tells, "Who cares if the whole world is watching? Honestly, who even cares about his personality? He's already a legendary hunter." The boy is reading their messages and he couldn't hold back himself. He says, "I want to become like Flame Emperor too." The pussycat gets annoyed and asks, "Are you a fan of Flame Emperor? Why are you making excuses for his behavior?" Blondie defends herself. "I'm just stating the facts. Everyone already knows he's like that." The media knows too, yet they still air his interviews. The loser again sends a text. "I wish I was like Flame Emperor." Another user with the profile of City enters the chat and starts to talk about a rumor. How could Saint Isabel date someone like that? Maybe that's why she's called a saint. Cat gets shocked to know that they're dating. Blondie confirms this rumor. "My hunter friend said he saw them together." The loser was spamming, "I wish I was like Flame Emperor." Then a user with profile of flower joined them and debunks this rumor. "What are you saying? Isabel's my friend, and she said they weren't dating." The loser was spamming, "I wish I was like Flame Emperor," over and over again. Cat profile user notices and says, "Who keeps on?" But he continues to spam, "I wish I was like Flame Emperor. I wish I was like Flame Emperor. I wish I was like Flame Emperor." But everyone ignores him and continues to talk about the Flame Emperor. They talk how he's so lucky and people hang on his every word. And heard he's rich too. Some of them feel so jealous. In screen, he's still screaming about being called Flame Emperor. The loser believes, if they were living in a novel, a guy like him would definitely be the main character. And a guy like himself wouldn't even be considered as a supporting character. He would definitely become an NPC. Yeah, I also think the same. But we all know how this manhwa is going to take place. Interviewer requests Flame Emperor to make a short statement for their viewers and his fans. You got your skills in your early 20s. Then, in just under a month, you were able to conquer a boss who had remained undefeated for 10 years. Can you share one piece of advice to all the aspiring hunters? Flame Emperor takes a pause and says, Fine. He calls out his fans, tells them to listen to it carefully. He advises them, I'm only going to say this once, so listen carefully. Work hard and become successful. But even if you succeed, don't think you have a chance against me. Because some people are just born lucky. But even if you come for me, then remember, you don't have a chance against me. Because I'll finish you in a blink of an eye. Everyone just looks at Flame Emperor with shocked faces. They were asking, what did you mean by that? But shortly after giving that Chad speech, he leaves the place. The news anchor announces, this was their breaking news segment, and that was the Flame Emperor with him just now. The loser gets angry and abruptly shuts down his laptop with a disappointing expression on his face. He puts his head down and then starts crying. He was so sad. He gets closer to the wall and looks at Flame Emperor's paper cuttings. He shouldn't look down on everyone else just because he's successful. It still makes him mad, even if it was the reporter who was being looked down on, and not him. He thinks, if only he had skills like Flame Emperor, then he wouldn't have to live in this tiny studio. He wouldn't be mocked and ridiculed for being a skill-less F-class hunter either. He gets flashes of his past and gets furious. He starts to tear off the paper cuttings with his hands and loudly shouts, I wish I could be like Flame Emperor. I'm so damn jealous. I want to be successful on my own too. If I could at least have Flame Emperor's skills, how great would that be? An unknown source of light comes from his window, and it gets bright as the time passes. The loser looks up towards it and stops crying. The light starts to turn itself into the shape of a golden card. Upon looking at it, he recalls something he saw in a trashy game. It was a scene he saw 1,000 times, and it was a skill card. The card was still floating above his head, and a notification appears. Jealousy so strong it is unmatched. Appalled by your jealousy, the tower is tossing you a skill. The loser understands that this is a little different from the other skill awakening videos that he saw. But to him, it doesn't matter as long as he gets some kind of skill. And this is the moment he has been waiting for forever since he was born. And it's a gold card too, which indicates that it's an S-class skill. So he moves forward and grabs the card. Another notification pops up. He got a skill named I Want to Be Like You, AS plus rank skill. This skill activates automatically when he gets killed by his enemy, and he will copy and gain one random skill from his killer. However, he may not copy another skill from the same enemy more than once. But to activate this skill, he must die first. He was reading the notification, and while reading, tears start to drop from his eyes. He was skillless for his whole life, and when he gets a skill, it is this crappy skill. The tower appeared out of nowhere, towering over the world and visible from everywhere on Earth. People with nothing to lose were the first to come to it, curious about what was inside. Each floor was filled with monsters from different worlds. A few chosen by the tower received special skills. News of the tower spread quickly, and crowds began to gather, eager to hunt its monsters. A news is being telecast. The reporter is taking a street interview of a man in a blue t-shirt. He's saying that he has seen Flame Emperor hunting at the hunting grounds before. He was holding a spear engulfed in flames, and it looked as if he was dancing, just like Nataraja. It was as if Shiva was standing right before my eyes. A man with a yellow cap is watching it on a TV. The loser asks him if he can change the channel and tells him, let's watch something else. He refuses to switch and tells him, it's getting interesting. He asks him, don't you like Flame Emperor? The owner likes him because he doesn't play dumb and actually owns up to his reputation. It's so refreshing. The loser tells him, it's not like that. There are people who live like that, but my life seems so pointless. Man says, not another drunkard again. He tells him to listen carefully. He tells him that he was given an S-class skill yesterday. But what kind of stupid skill requires you to die in order to use it? He gets up from the table, remembering that he didn't even notify the Hunter Association. While telling him all this, he starts crying again and rapidly smashes his hand into the table. He didn't inform them because he was too ashamed to say that this crappy skill was his. The owner of the restaurant obviously gets angry and tells him, "Go outside if you're going to throw up." He gets thrown out from the restaurant. While walking on the road like a professional drunk, a notification pops up announcing the hunter ranking. Obviously, the top rank belonged to the Flame Emperor, followed by Black Dragon and Viper. He falls on a wall because his head was hurting. Then he suddenly hears a voice coming from a short distance. He follows and peeks from the wall. He sees Flame Emperor arguing with a girl. She asks him to step aside by calling his name. Flame Emperor tells her, "Why are you acting like this all of a sudden?" He gives her a creepy smile and tells her, "Nice acting. Someone might actually buy this act you're putting on, Miss Saint." He tells her about the drink she just drank and tells her that he poisoned it. He shows her a bottle which contained basilisk stomach acid. This is the poison she was going to slip into his drink. And if it wasn't for his skill, he would have been in big trouble. He suddenly throws away the bottle of poison. He calls her by her name and tells her, "Try and explain this." She calls it a misunderstanding and starts to shake. "It's a misunderstanding, Flame Emperor. All I wanted was to clear the tower with you as a team." He moves closer toward Saint's face and replies, "That's what I thought, but it turns out you had other plans." She again explains, "It was a misunderstanding and nothing more," and even offers him to talk it out. Our loser is holding his mouth with his hand, and he is scared for his life after seeing Flame Emperor. He stands on the edge of the wall and tries not to make any noise. By thinking about the time when he heard they were supposed to be dating, he listens to their conversation. He replies that it doesn't sound like a conversation between couples. It was more like a conversation between someone who wants to kill and someone who wants to survive. Flame Emperor holds her by her neck. She struggles and tries to say something. He says, "You want to talk? Fine, I'll be a gentleman. But we'll do it in my way. I'll ask the questions. You just nod yes or no. You should know that I have a lie detecting skill, so don't try any tricks. If you cooperate, who knows? Maybe I'll give you the antidote." He starts with asking questions. "Tell me, who ordered you to kill me?" Flame Emperor suspects. "Was it the witch of the Black Dragon?" Our boy Kim remembers the words that came out of the restaurant owner's mouth and starts to think about it while witnessing this side of the Flame Emperor. After listening to the witch's name, Saint lowers her gaze and puts her neck down. By looking at it, Flame Emperor says, "Just as I thought." The owner's words were still echoing in his mind. He is the type of hero our world needs right now. Flame Emperor says his goodbye to Saint Isabella, and with the goodbye, he uses his skill and creates flames. She is getting hurt by the burns. Her scream can be heard, and she ends up dying painfully in the hands of Yua, as known as Flame Emperor. Our boy witnesses the crime and he cannot control his emotions. The guy he admired the most has committed such a heinous crime in front of him. So he runs away and keeps calling him a murderer, a psychopath, who's not a hero. While running, he steps on a juice bottle. Flame Emperor hears this and walks towards the source of the noise and finds him running away. He also notices that the Flame Emperor has appeared behind him, which sends chills through his spine. But he doesn't stop and continues running away from him. From the corner of the alley, Flame Emperor looks at him running away and gives an evil smile. "I thought I got rid of all the rats nearby, but it looks like I've missed one." He takes a glimpse of his eyes and calls it the eyes of a murderer and tries to run fast. But thanks to his luck, he stumbles and falls on the ground. After listening to his killing the rat thing, he gets shocked. Saint Isabel wasn't the first. Just how many people has he killed? Tens? Hundreds? He tries to stand, but he couldn't stand on his feet because he got his ankle sprained. Flame Emperor comes closer to him while holding a fireball in his hand. He screams, "Please let me go! Please let me go, Flame Emperor!" Flame Emperor asks him, "Did you see anything?" He refuses and says he didn't see. Flame Emperor goes on his knees and again asks, "What did you not see? You happen to call me Flame Emperor, and whatever it is you saw, you claim to have seen nothing." That's quite interesting. Too bad I'm not stupid enough to believe you. Flame Emperor grabs his neck, which leads to him getting choked. He can't breathe. So he keeps begging for him to let him go and says he won't tell anyone. He laughs at him and tells him, "If you don't want to end up like the saint, then you better tell me the truth." He asks him, "Who sent you here? Was it the Black Dragon again?" The boy recalls how he idolized him for a long time, and this world is still idolizing someone like him. He trembles and says, "Your detecting skills." He reminds him of his lie-detecting skills which he told the saint before he finished her, and tells him to use it on him and tells him that he didn't see anything and he is a nobody. He asks him, "What lie-detecting skills are you talking about?" He realizes that there are no lie-detecting skills, and he has finished several liars with this lie and without any evidence, just because he thought she was suspicious. Flame Emperor gets angry on him and throws him away. That's a bit harsh. What does he take me for? He tells him that Isabel really planned on finishing him. If I didn't finish her today, she would have poisoned him tomorrow or some other day. While coughing, he asks, "How would he know that?" He says, "I just know everything. I have my own ways of knowing. And guess you really are innocent, seeing that you're urging me to use the lie-detecting skill." Emperor puts his hand on his head. Kim thinks he is patting his head and thanks him. "Thank you for believing me." But Emperor had different plans. His hand glows and slowly it burns his hair. Emperor says, "That doesn't change the fact that he saw everything. So I guess you'll have to go and see the saint yourself." He tells him his name, which was Sue, and tells him goodbye. A man is holding a boy, and the boy is holding a football in his hand. He tells him, "My name is Gangja, so you have to be a great person like him." Kim happily smiles and says, "Okay." It was his headmaster. He tells that this is not how he wanted to die. Notification appears. "You have died." Gongja is laying on his stomach. Everything around him is black. Maybe he's being teleported into some sort of another dimension. He asks himself, "Why do I have to die like this repeatedly?" A notification pops up. "The requirements for your skill have been met. You may now use your skill." He keeps on chanting to himself, "I could have lived a better life." Another notification appears. A random skill will be copied from Hunter Sue. The system starts generating a skill card and selects a golden card for him. He sees it while tears drop from his eyes. Gongja ponders internally and raises his hand toward the card. He has the right to try. And if only he has one more chance. He slightly opens his one eye and sees the golden card. He pushes himself towards the card and grabs it. After grabbing, the system informs, the selection has been completed. The skill is being copied now, and he is being teleported. He suddenly wakes up and hears breaking news from Babylon, the same news about the Black Dragon and the Flame Emperor he heard before, where the Black Dragons were confident in their skills and eager to show everyone what a top guild is capable of. The Black Dragon Guild set out to attack the 40th floor of the tower. Unfortunately, they returned with empty hands. He is shocked and looks around to check if it is real, and he is really back again. He looks at the laptop. When the reporter says, "Once again, Flame Emperor has defeated the boss single-handedly," he gets absolutely terrified and starts to sweat. What's going on? Why is everything repeating itself? He asks himself, when did I get back home? In his phone, a notification pops. It's the pussycat asking others in the group, did they watch the Flame Emperor's interview? Looks like he's acting out again. Flame Emperor was shouting at the reporter for calling him with such a lame name. Why call me by that stupid nickname when I have a perfectly fine name? Everyone was saying and acting the same as yesterday. He remembers he died in the hand of Flame Emperor just a moment ago, and then he possessed a skill card. So he summons it and sees he now possesses more than one skill. Two windows pop up. One was the "I want to be like you," and looking at it, he says, "It's total trash." Then he looks at the other card and asks himself, did I copy Flame Emperor's skill when I died? The skill is called the Time Traveler Clock, and it was an X-rank skill, which activates automatically upon death, and from the time of death, The skill user will travel 24 hours back in time with their skills and memories intact. It also gives a warning. The higher the rank, the higher the penalty for the skill user. This skill has been copied from Hunter Sue. Kim understands it. If he dies, he'll travel 24 hours back in time. His memories, skills, and experience will stay intact. This was his secret. The secret of the legendary hunter. This is why he killed Saint Isabel. He did it because he was actually poisoned by her the day after. It's also why he finished him, an innocent bystander, and clenches his hands. Interviewer asked Sue, "Can you share one piece of advice to all the aspiring hunters out there?" Sue repeats the same dialogues. Some people are just born lucky. But even if you succeed, don't think you have a chance against me. Because I'll finish you. Kim angrily looks at him and clenches his teeth while saying, "Let's see who kills who first this time." Suddenly, he hears people screaming, "Fire! Fire!" By looking out the window, he sees residents of the city running and loudly saying, "There's no time to waste. We need to put out the fire." Kim comes out with a knife and also heads to the place where the fire has started. This place he lives in is very different from the outer world. It's a city formed solely by those who wish to become hunters, the first floor of the tower. Kim runs towards the fire and checks out his phone. He sees it's 6:37 and says, "This was around the time I was drinking the juice in that restaurant." And Flame Emperor must have started this fire to hide any evidence related to him while he finished the saint. Someone shouts, "Hunters with water skills, don't just try to put it out by yourselves." The Black Dragon Guild will temporarily take charge of this area and ask them to follow her lead. She is the Witch of the Black Dragon, ranked 2 hunter, and a guild leader. This city has many names. Some call it Babylon, while others just call it the first floor city. Some even call it Skyscraper City. But they all mean the same thing. It's a place you can't leave once you enter. A cute with green hair is scared for the people who might be stuck on that area. We've cleared the surrounding area, but we need to check and see if there are any people inside. We need to send in a team. She is Master Alchemist, rank 5 hunter, healer, and the guild leader from Alchemist Guild. A knight was also present there. He was Paladin, A-ranked 10 hunter, and guild leader from City Security. He says, "If that's what you're worried about, there's no need. This place was sealed off 5 years ago. Thank goodness for that." Someone asked for more fire extinguishers and more fire users to put out the fire, as the fire is not in control. Extreme situations like this have become the norm for the residents of this place. Master Alchemist asks the knight about Saint and calls it weird. Why haven't we seen the Saint yet? She normally doesn't show up late for situations like this. Knight tells the alchemist, "She did mention that she had plans tonight, and she's been spending a lot of time with Flame Emperor lately. Maybe they're on a date." She replies, "I don't like him. He just gives me a bad feeling." At the very next moment, Yu Su, better known as Flame Emperor, appears at that place. "Who played with fire without my permission?" Knight greets him. "Welcome, Flame Emperor." He replies, Yeah, I'm here, right?" He calls him Big Brother. "As you can see, that old slum building is on fire. Can you help us out?" He asks him, if you help, then what will he get in return? That makes Kim angry. He calls him crazy psychopath for expecting something in return for putting out a fire that he caused in the first place. The knight tells him, "The public will praise you for having a good conscience on top of being the top-ranked hunter." Emperor has nothing to do with it and asks if he really thinks he cares about the public's opinions. This was because his fans always didn't care what his personality is like, and now he's already a legendary hunter. Those were just the facts Kim was stating in his mind. Everyone already knows what he's like. Flame Emperor tells he refuses to do charity work and turns around, saying he will catch them later. Kim knows he doesn't play dumb and actually owns up to his reputation. It's so refreshing, because no one knows what he's really like. Everyone just thinks he's a cocky hero, but only he knows that he is a true killer by nature. And he has to kill him. Kim tightens his fist, in which he was holding a kitchen knife, and moves forward. Seeing this, the residents ask him where he is going. They try to stop him. Don't get too close, it's dangerous. They again try to stop him, but he does not stop. He moves forward and believes he needs to finish him for the honor of all hunters. Because hunters are supposed to hunt down monsters for humanity, regardless of what method they use. Flame Emperor turns back and sees him coming towards him. Hey, where are you going with a knife in your hands? Kim runs straight towards him, but Yua suddenly moves out of the place, and Kim falls into the fire. He cannot be seen, but his screams can be heard, and it's only getting louder with his pain. He can see Yua, he says, and while taking his last breaths, this is the only way I can kill that monster. Notification for him appears. After dying, you will travel 24 hours back in time. He wakes up in his room, in the same mattress and dirty room. But this time he was calm and composed because he knows he has to deal with Flame Emperor. News of the day before is going on. Confident in their skills and eager to show everyone what a top guild is capable of. Kim says, "That's good. My skill seems to be working properly. Of course, F-class hunters like me wouldn't even be given a penalty. He can't kill Flame Emperor in his current state, and he is aware of it. Even if I am lucky enough to kill him, that bastard will just come back again 24 hours earlier. After all, he also holds the same time-traveling skill. So the only way a low-ranking hunter like me can hunt him down is to..." He recalls an interview of Flame Emperor when he shares the story of his awakening. Interviewer asks, "When did you awaken your first skill?" Flame Emperor replies, "It was the summer I turned 21, so it's been about 11 years. She praises him. "You must have a really good memory, seeing how he remembers so clearly." He takes a sip and says, "Not really. I just remember it because it happened on my birthday. So to be exact, that would be 11 years ago, June 7th. If his calculations are correct, that would have been 4,050 days ago. That means he has to die 4,050 times to go back in time before he awakens his skill." He grabs the knife and, without thinking much, stabs himself in the stomach and dies and gets back to 24 hours back. It was so painful that he cries, thinking that he has to do this for 4,049 more times, but gathers his thoughts and makes himself ready because he is the only one who can deal with this monster. So again, he takes the knife and says, "All right, only 4,049 more days to go." Then stabs himself and dies and gets respawned 24 hours back in time. He does this himself again and over until one last day is remaining. For the final death, he gets excited and stabs himself and finally back to the time when Emperor has not yet awakened his skills. He wakes up in the mattress and hears the clock sound and celebrates, "I did it! I traveled back to a time before Flame Emperor became a legend." But sooner he realized he died an extra 30 more times than he had originally planned. The extra 30 deaths were for the rest times he had to take in between. Even with the deaths taking their toll on his body and mind, he endured it all in order to get rid of that devil's legacy from this world. Kim picks up his knife, pulls his hoodie on his head, and leaves the building. It's finally time to hunt his past, or hunt his future. It's 11 o'clock. 11 years ago, May 6th. Kim reaches the place. He scouts the area and finds Yua, who's in his bedroom, sleeping on his bed. He gets a call and he picks up. "I should have taken it easy on the drinks." Kim also mimics the same. He has relived this day more than 10 times in order to plan the perfect outcome. Every day at 9 in the morning, he wakes up in his studio apartment in the building designated for F-class hunters. Yua gets up and picks his spear on his shoulder. "Time to go to work." Kim angrily looks at him. "That damned bastard." It's 3 o'clock p. He then heads to the second-floor hunting grounds to hunt slimes. He holds one of it. "Goddamn, hunting slimes day after day is so boring. What the hell? When will I get to live in glory like King Sword?" Kim looks at him and understands. At 21 years old, he was just your typical F-class hunter waiting for a chance to change his life. Yua has not finished yapping and continues saying, "Can't I win the lottery or something? Or at least get an S-class skill?" Kim says, "Under normal circumstances, it would happen a week later." He takes down some of the slime monsters and lets their blood spill on himself. He tells, because the circumstances are different, so this is not going to happen. Time is 5:31 p.m. Yua goes to the transporter and tells it to take him to the 6th floor. After coming to the conclusion that it's pointless to just hunt slimes, he heads to an advanced hunting area where F-class hunters rarely go. So he gets transported to the 6th floor hunting grounds. Kim is happy because for the next 36 minutes, Kim and Emperor will be alone here. Kim calls him from behind. "Excuse me, Mr. Hunter. Can you please help me? I was attacked by the wolves. Do you have any potions?" He angrily looks at him. "What the hell, man? You fought the monsters here already? Then today's hunt is a total loss." Kim again asks him for a potion. He replies, "In your dreams. It looks like I won't even earn a day's wage today." He again asks him for help. "Please spare me a potion." Yua asks him, "How much are you willing to give me?" And he was serious. Yua pushes him with his spear and again asks, "How much are you willing to pay for the potion?" He tells him his hunt was ruined today, and he just expects him to give this expensive potion for free. He doesn't even know him. "You've got some nerve," he says to him. "The Alchemist Guild sells that potion for 20 gold. Kim tells him that he will pay him 20 gold for it. Yua does not seem to be interested. "I don't think you're catching my drift." He again pushes him with a spear. "Is that all you're willing to pay to save your life? Just 20 gold? Is your life worth just 20 gold? Kim adds 20 more. Then 40 gold. Yua says, "Forget that," and holds him with collars. "Empty your pockets." He pulls out his gold box. "In your state, you cannot pull out your money." "No worries, I'll empty them for you." Kim internally knows what kind of person he is. So Yua exactly does what he said, takes out wallet from the jacket and pushes him away and counts the coins. 1, 2, 3. Around 60 gold in total. He tells him, "Why are you so poor, man? There's barely anything here for me to take." Kim tells him not to take all his money because that's all his savings. Yua stands in front of his face and holds his hair, just like before, or 11 years from now. "Don't worry. I'll put it to good use for you. That's the way the cookie crumbles, don't you agree?" He asks him about the potion. Yua laughs. "I thought about it, but if I let you live, you might come back to get revenge on me. People should live without regrets, and well, you already saw my face." Yua jumps and was about to attack Kim with his spear, but instead, Kim too jumps in the air and kicks between Yua's legs and tells him loudly, "I will live without regrets." Yua gets down on his knees, can't move his body. Kim takes out a knife from his jacket, and as he sees the chance, he swings his knife through his neck and slashes it. Yua was struggling. Kim tells him, "I can't take any chances on him getting a skill card." From your life being threatened, he runs forward to make sure to finish him completely. And he actually does completely finish Yua like a maniac with his repeated strikes. Yua, who was known as the person who is going to become rank 1 hunter, Flame Emperor, is now finished, with blood splashes all over the place. Kim stands up and says, "Sue, when you killed me, I thought it was a little weird that you told me your name right before you took my life. After living through that nightmare 4,090 times, I was finally able to realize that despite being nothing more than a murderer, you were trying to make it seem like you were some noble knight in a duel. How dare you? You killed all those innocent people and then acted like you were doing some noble deed." From a short distance, he hears sound of wolves. He turns around and sees those are wolves monsters. He looks at them and tells, "You want to eat him? Go ahead. He's useless to me." So he lets them eat his body, and one by one, they snatch his body parts. Kim walks out towards the place where he hid his bag and clothes. He changes dirty clothes and goes to take the lift to the 1st floor and transports at the 1st floor. A knight is patrolling the area. Kim sees him and says, "It's the city security." He gets alert and starts walking and passes by the guard. Guard did not stop him. So he finally completes his task and leaves the building. It's really over. No one knows what happened. To celebrate his victory, he goes to a bar, and the news is broadcasting once again. The expedition that set out to clear the 10th floor has failed. The #1 hunter, King Sword, continues to receive backlash from the public for not participating in the expedition. The awful legend, Flame Emperor Su Yu, has finally been erased from history. Kim seems happy for his victory and asks the waiter, "Another draft of beer?" Waiter notices his laughter. "Seems like you had a good day." "Did your hunting go well?" Kim replies, "Yeah, it was great." Incredible, actually. But in actual, with hunters from 2nd to 7th place being part of the failed expedition, some wonder if the hunter rankings are useless. Kim drinks his beer and opens the hunter ability window, and it shows skills. There were 2 slots which were empty. The first skill was, I want to be like you, rank S+, passive. The second one was the Time Traveler's Clock, rank X, passive. He finishes with his drink and says to the waiter, "This here is the perfect pairing for my drink. Just look at these precious skills." After checking his stats, he sees that he didn't have any combat skills. He suddenly realizes that he is being greedy and thinks to himself, "Confucius Kim, you're basically a thief if you expect anything more. Let's just focus on the things you can do with the skills you already have." Maybe he can win one of those lotteries sold by the United Merchants Guild. Or maybe he could sell information from the future on how to attack the top floors. Yes, my life is finally changing for the better. There's an endless road of possibilities ahead of me now. An old man with a hat enters the bar. He looks at Kim and asks him, "Bring me a glass of warm milk mixed with a bit of vodka and sugar. Though if you have honey, that would be preferred over sugar." Kim apologizes. "Sorry, mister, I don't work here." But he didn't listen. "Don't worry, I'll make sure to tip well." Kim thinks, what a weird old man. Others in the bar start discussing. "Hey, is that who I think it is?" The other person replies, "What's someone like him doing here?" In the news, the public agrees that at times like this, it's more important than ever that hunters work together as a team to clear the tower. But where is King Sword and why isn't he helping? King Sword was missing for 22 days. Is chaos dawning on the world of the hunters? King Sword's real name is Marcus Kenberry. In the future, he had largely been forgotten since he had been missing for 11 years by that point. But he was considered the top-ranked hunter before Flame Emperor took his spot. The other people stare at him, and they all have different opinions for King Sword. Someone says, he'd still be considered the #1 right now. He probably has an S-class skill too. Kim is feeling insecure about his skills because he is comparing his skill with King Sword. And he has a proper combat skill for hunting instead of weird passive skills like him. He suddenly splashes the drink out and realizes that he can have his skills because his skill allows him to copy any hunter's skill as long as he gets finished by them. He looks at King Sword and thinks of getting his skills. No one knew him in his era, but he was a big shot in this era, and his skills are probably something good which he can make use of. And on top of that, he can't even really die anymore. He pulls out his phone and starts gathering the information about King Sword on the internet. After a few minutes, he comes across some anonymous user who wrote, "I heard that he's a senior member of a wealthy family from somewhere in Northern Europe, and he left everything in order to come to the tower." While the other user writes, "No one really knows what skills he has." Anon again writes, "King Sword has a habit of talking to himself." Kim reads all these messages and confirms that these are just rumors that everyone has heard of him, and there isn't any useful info on here except that he's a complete mystery. He thinks, it would have been nice if he had half of the ego Flame Emperor had, but he is chill as ice. King Sword suddenly shouts at someone, "Shut up! You're being too loud!" From the start, Kim sees there was no one standing. The old man is shouting at nothing and continues to do some mysterious things. Kim admits that the talking to himself thing was not a rumor but reality. He thinks to himself, if all the top rankers are supposed to be a little weird. He scrolls and finds something interesting. It was some taboo words that should never be mentioned in front of King Sword. The user wrote 8 months ago, "I am 100% sure that if anyone uses these words in front of King Sword, then it is confirmed that they are courting death." He writes about an incident where a hunter talks to King Sword in a bad tone. "Old man, this is a shared hunting ground. Follow the rules." He tells him to leave the place. They already got dibs on this area. A few days ago, he saw a few high-level hunters hunting on the 9th floor of the tower. One of the hunters starts laughing at him. "Maybe you didn't hear because of your failing hearing aids. Looking at you, I can already tell that the grandchildren you abandoned to come here are also..." Those were the last words that high-level hunter spoke before he tasted King Sword's sword in a blink of an eye. King Sword slashed him through the middle. Another user replies, calling this a hoax and calling the poster a spy who works for some big clan. He is sure they ordered him to spread fake rumors. The user tells him, "I don't care if you believe me or not. I am sharing this incident with everyone because I thought some of you guys wanted to know the mysteries around King Sword. Anyway, if you don't want to get killed, never mention Blade Saint's grandchildren in front of him. Never mention his grandchildren." Kim thinks it's worth testing out. King Sword has not stopped yelling, "Shut up already! I'll take care of it later, so leave me alone. I can't even enjoy my vodka because of you." He pays the money and thanks the waiter for the drink. Waiter says goodnight to him, and he leaves the bar. Now other customers are talking. Finally, he's gone. I almost lost my appetite because of him. Kim also pays for his drinks and tells the waiter to keep the change. Waiter appreciates this gesture. Goodbye and come again. Kim leaves the bar and stands outside. It was time to track down the #1 hunter. He starts scouting for the old man. He shouldn't have gone far because he came out right after him. He finally spots him. There he is, and follows him where he is heading to. Kim thought, he's pretty easy to spot, the #1 of this era, given that he's the only person to dress like that in Babylon, and wonders what kind of skills he could have. Flame Emperor had an X-class time-traveling skill, so what kind of awesome skill could the previous top ranker have? Could he have an even stronger skill than time-traveling? If I'm lucky enough, that skill will be mine soon. After tailing him for almost an hour, King Sword halts at a palace and calls him out. This seems like a good place. Come out now, young man. Kim was hiding behind a tree and wonders how did he know he was tailing him. King Sword tells Kim, no one will know what happens in a place like this. Kim shows up. I apologize, sir. I just wanted to ask you for a small favor. King Sword chuckles, and seeing this, Kim gets worried. King Sword says, weren't you trying to get me to notice you by tailing me so loudly on purpose? What kind of favor could you possibly need from an old man to creep after me like this? Kim's head gets sweaty due to fear. King Sword thought he was tailing loudly on purpose when he was being as cautious as he could be so he could notice him. He was not even armed with anything either, but King Sword was ready, holding a blade like he's going to attack him at any moment. He wonders why King Sword is acting like this. The only thing he did was follow him. But if he comes at him like this, it makes things easier. But why? He wants him finished. King Sword tells him, your acting skill is top level. I didn't expect anything less from a legendary assassin like him. Kim is confused and denies what he believes. How can you say that I am a first-rate assassin? He looks just like a normal person. In his mind, he congratulates himself because he is about to get killed without even having to provoke him with his grandchildren. Kim again asks him, why do you think I am a first-rate assassin? King is now tired of him. You're acting like you don't know what you're doing, but you can't deceive my eyes. Kim again doesn't understand why he is calling him assassin. I am a normal civilian. King Sword was not having it and pulls out his sword. Shut your mouth. He revealed that he has several skills in his skill set, and among them, there is a skill that lets him know how many people a person has killed. Even if it was done for the good of humanity, a murder is still a murder. Kim now gets that King Sword knows about his secret. But Flame Emperor was going to become a monster in the future, and it is hard to explain it to King Sword. The people in this time period know nothing about him. Kim assumes King Sword probably sees his kill count as 1. He calls him sir. Hear me out. There was a good reason behind what I did. I swear to God, it was done for the good of humanity. King Sword removes his hat from his head and calls him disgusting for even trying to justify the things he has done. In his eyes, he is already a devil who has finished thousands of people. He tells him, "Of course, I too have not lived an entirely clean life, but I was never a ruthless demon like him." Kim is now totally confused. What thousands of murders? I've only killed one person in my entire life. King Sword points his sword towards him. Stop lying. Tell me that you are even ashamed of your actions. I can clearly see that you have killed 4,091 people. I see the number clearly on top of your head. Kim now completely understands. He had sacrificed himself for a total number of 4,090, and the other one is obviously Flame Emperor. King Sword asks, "Did the Witch of the Black Dragon send you?" Kim knows right now King Sword sees him as some cold-blooded killer who has killed 4,091 people. This is no longer a problem of whether he copies his skill or not. He knows as long as King Sword has that skill, he'll try to finish him every time he sees him. Kim turns around and starts to run away from him, but King Sword follows him. "You're not going to answer my question? Fine. That's not what's important right now. What's important right now is to finish you. I will use all the power I have to finish you." King Sword suddenly moves forward and swings his sword, but Kim dodges his attack and leaves him slashing at nothing. King angrily looks at him. "You dodged my blade. You must really be a first-class assassin." Kim gets afraid. This guy is crazy. In reality, his shoe stumbles on a rock and he falls to the ground. He may have gotten lucky for this time, but when the next attack comes, he is done for sure. He looks up towards King Sword and sees that he had turned his head already and started arguing. "Be quiet. You want me to interrogate this devil first instead of finishing him off right now? I already told you that I'll take care of it. You meddle too much." Kim wonders if talking to himself is also a skill. It looks like he's actually talking to someone and not to himself. Or is it telepathy? He heard that telepathic skills exist too. Does that mean he's sharing his information with other people right now? Has he told them that he is a cold-blooded murderer of 4,091 people who is on the loose? If he has, then he will be put on the Hunter Bureau's wanted list, and he will be targeted by all the high-class guilds and top-ranking hunters. They'll hunt him down until he is publicly executed in the Babylon Plaza. He can't let that happen. He has to respawn before his 24 hours are up, and it's too late to change anything. King Sword is still talking to the invisible thing. "Doesn't matter if you're my teacher. I've already made up my mind." Kim gets up from the ground and asks King Sword, "Are your grandchildren doing well?" This catches King Sword's attention, and he seems angry already. He continues, "You know how a family like yours tends to attract quite the crowd? And it's scary out there right now. You should tell your grandchildren to be extra careful." A flash triggers in, and in a fraction of a second, Kim goes upside down and he sees the moon. He didn't remember when he jumped upside down, and in the blink of an eye, he sees half of his body away from his vision. But sooner he realizes that his head is floating above, and he reacts, "It's beautiful." King Sword's attack was so quick he didn't even see it. He wonders what he has to do to get to his rank. Now he wants to be like him and starts to envy him and gets greedy. "I want that power too." And dies. A system window pops, informing him that the condition for his skill to get activated has been fulfilled by his death. He stands in front of the window, and another notification pops. The skill cards are getting created now. Our boy will have the skill of 2 different rank 1 heroes from 2 different timelines. The cards were generated, and the system tells him to select a skill card. Looking at it, he gets excited and tells the system to show him the golden card. His plan was to pick the most powerful card, just like he did with the Flame Emperor. But to his surprise, there was no golden card. He stands still in shock, and as the realization hits him, he gets shocked. Unlike the Flame Emperors, King Sword has achieved his skills without a single S-rank skill. The realization hits him hard, and he falls to his knees. He thinks that there might be only one powerful skill card among the multiple silver skill cards. So there were 3 colored cards and 4 silver cards. Ignoring the high color card, his chances were 1 out of 4. He gets up, recalling the skills of King Sword, and thinks that the kill count skill is probably among the silver cards too, and he clearly didn't want it. He picks a silver card, asking the system to cheat for him this time. And I will never ask for anything ever again. And prays that the skill he chooses to be the one behind King Sword's success. Card selection was complete, and the skill was completely copied. Now he was getting sent back to yesterday. He opens his eyes, gasping, and wakes up, clenching his fist. System, open the status window. He didn't notice, but there was someone lying behind him. He wonders if he got King Sword's main skill. As he opens his skill bar, a skill was added to his status bar. King Sword's Sword Thrown, A+ skill. And it was also a passive skill, and it doesn't seem to be the kill count skill. He again lies down on his bed, thinking he again got a passive skill. He badly wanted a cool active skill like the rare martial arts or aura awakening. But he comes to his senses and thinks that he must not get greedy and complain about it, as it is also an A+ skill. He tells the skill card to open because he can't tell what the skill does just from the name. He hears some weird noises. What are those? As he turns to see what it is, a buffed-up man with long red hair was lying next to him. He was faced opposite and calls him Gramps, reminding him that he already told him before to go outside if he wants to train in the middle of the night, and tells him to be more respectful, while reminding that he will be pulled with him if he goes far away. Kim looks at him with sheer fear. Who are you? They both look at each other, and after staring for a few moments, the man asks Kim if he can see him. He replies, yes. Then he asks if he can hear him. Kim again replies with a yes. That's how he is having a conversation with him. He squats in front of him. That is weird, and that is not supposed to happen. He gets up and stretches a little bit before asking where he is and where the hell is Marcus. Kim was stunned. Are you talking about Marcus Kenberry, the King Sword? The man looks outside through the window. I'm talking about him. And that is too much of a hype for a beginner like him. And asks where he is because he should be somewhere around. Kim starts to sweat, thinking why he is calling King Sword a beginner. The man was still looking for King Sword through the window and tells Kim that he couldn't see him. Kim opens his skill window and clicks on his new skill, Sword Thrown. This skill was an A+ level skill, and in the effects section it was written, the man standing in front of him was from another world and cleared his world tower up to 99th floor, but failed on the 100th floor. He was unsatisfied with this and was not able to give up on his earthly desires. In that process, he became a spirit. In this state, he cannot affect anything in this world, but he can communicate with the holder of his skill. The system recommended him to be amazed by his skills and ask for advice. In the end, it was stated that he can only be seen by the holder of his skill, and it was copied from King Sword. Kim now gets it. He was from another world, and he was a ghost. He calls him and asks, were you a guardian spirit of King Sword? He turns around. I was something similar to it. Kim starts to sweat, and with a shaky voice, apologizes before revealing, I cloned you accidentally. The man gets shocked, and his jaw drops. Return me to old Gramps right now. Tears begin to come out of his eyes as he asks if he can't cancel his skill and return him to the Gramps. He gives an example of refunds. Everything should be refundable in this day and age. Kim holds his ears, and his face was completely turned pale as he explains, this is not in my control. While crying, he sits cross-legged on the ceiling and yells, Marcus, you useless pile of scrap metal! Your master just got kidnapped by some random loser kid. This was not something Kim saw in his everyday life. Stop crying upside down because it might give me a heart attack. He tells him that it happened because that stupid disciple of his didn't respect his master enough. He told him to worship the ground that he walked on, but he didn't. Kim was still holding his ears. Can't we live quietly? He again throws a tantrum and repeatedly tells, Live? You say Lev? I am already dead. Then Kim slowly tells him, Then can you please quietly die? This enrages him even more, and he begins to shout even louder. I have never been this disrespected in my life. He calls the non-existing people. Everyone, look at this bastard bad-mouthing the dead. and it wasn't enough that he already died once. He thinks, what kind of ghost talks this much? Flashes of King Sword appear in front of him when he was talking to himself and telling him to be quiet and not to interfere too much. Now he knows who he was talking to. He also began to talk to himself. Not only do I have to hide from the King's Sword, but I also got his dumb skill. The ghost listens to this. Why do you have to hide from the Gramps? And why would you do that? He may not look like it, but he is pretty nice as long as you don't mention his grandkids. Kim covers his face with his hands. I already know it. And asks if he knows King Sword also has another skill which helps him to see the kill count of people. The ghost replies, I know about it, and that skill is called Eye of Detective. And that skill is garbage, which only helps to figure out who is an assassin and who is not. Kim points a finger at his own head, 4091, and repeats, the number on his head is 4091. The ghost clenches his teeth and calls him crazy. You're an amateur. Not only an amateur, you are an amateur among the amateurs who doesn't even know how to use aura either. How can someone like you kill 4091 people? Kim tells him, because I didn't kill 4091 people. I only killed one person who would have become a tyrant in the future. And 4090 is the amount of times I killed myself. I returned from 11 years in the future to kill that guy. And I have a skill which copies a random skill from people who kill me. I received the returner skill when that guy killed me. So now, if I die, I just returned to 24 hours before the time I was killed, and I am technically immortal. I wanted to take revenge on him, but he was their rank 1. No one managed to kill him because even if they kill him, he would have gotten revived and traveled back 24 hours due to his revival skill. So I came to this time where he didn't have awakened his powers. The ghost sits in front of him, finds it interesting that he came back in time just to get revenge on one person by committing 11 years' worth of self-sacrifice. This leaves him speechless. So he squats in front of him and looks at him. Suddenly he asks Kim his name. Kim replies, my name is Kim. Then he asks why he picked Gramps, and why he decided to steal his skill as soon as he was done with his revenge. Kim answers him, I chose King Sword because he was the number 1 of this era. The faster way to get strong was to take the strongest people's skills. The ghost stares at him, and after a few moments, the reason you are being honest is probably because the skill card told you that no one other than me can feel my presence, and there is no way I can tell anyone else. Kim scratches his head. You are right. The ghost tells him to stand up while floating in the air. After Kim gets up, the ghost checks him from all sides. You have enough perseverance, and I think that your body would be okay with some exercise. And on top of that, you have enough ambition, which is not bad. He starts to think something. Suddenly, he goes closer to his face and calls his name. I want to see you hunt some monsters in the middle of the night. They are in the jungle which was filled with red slime. Kim turns back to him. Do I just have to kill some monsters? The ghost replies with a yes. He pulls out his knife and stabs it into a slime and slashes a few other slimes. All the slimes merge together and turn into a much bigger slime and attack Kim. Kim was now inside of the slime, but he was not panicking, as if he does this daily. With a little focus and the right amount of pressure, he cuts through the slimes, and with a few slashes, he finishes off the slime. The ghost looks at him and is satisfied with Kim's performance. I knew it. Kim hears him saying that while cleaning himself. While cleaning his face, he asks the ghost, You knew what? The ghost tells him his backstory. Back when I was alive, I was known as Emperor Sword. I was born in a different world than him, and one day a tower rose in that city, in which he quickly rose to the top. Listening to this, Kim recalls that the skill card told him the same. He thought the fact that Flame Emperor became a legend after clearing 40 levels was insane, but after knowing that Emperor Sword cleared 99 levels in his world, he thinks this puts him in another league. Emperor Sword tells him, When someone gets to my level, they can gauge the talent at a glance. I wanted to see you fight because I wanted to see if you have what it takes to become a hunter. Kim puts his head down and smiles. Then you have wasted your time because I have no talent for fighting. Emperor Sword calls it crap. You have talent. In fact, you have immense talent. This shocks Kim, and he starts to rub his head. You are just pulling my leg. Emperor Sword closes his eyes. Of course you have no talent for martial arts. Your moves are too clumsy and your body is not trained. You don't even seem close to sensing your aura. But you have a talent that no one has, and that is you are not afraid of death. Normally, people protect themselves instinctively when they fight, but it's surprising that you don't even have those instincts. Maybe those instincts probably disappeared while you were dying more than 4,000 times. Kim asks, if that even counts as a talent? Emperor Sword replies positively. Talent is not something you have to be born with. Anyone can gain a talent at any time in their lives. And one of the hardest talents to get is transcending the fear of death, which is incredible. And you have it. Kim ponders to himself. No one has told him that. Not even he realized it. He did all that because he couldn't stand being treated like a bug by the Flame Emperor. He couldn't stand it to the point that he killed himself 4,000 times. That death became talent. Emperor Sword asks him, what were you thinking when you died to Gramps? Kid looks away from him. I thought that it was beautiful. Emperor Sword bursts into laughter because he finds it interesting. He was happy with him. If you said that your ability was to copy and not to steal, then Marcus still has another gimmick as his guardian spirit. And I want to see which one of us will become a greater hunter. He points his thumb towards himself. I am going to help you to a point where you can stand toe-to-toe with Gramps. Then corrects himself. I will train you to a point where you can stand on top of him. After listening to this, Kim smiles. Emperor tells him, let's take over this tower. Next day, Emperor Sword was shouting at Kim to wake up. Why isn't he waking up yet? He turns to the other side. Let me sleep for 5 more minutes. Emperor Sword shouts, 5 minutes? You are just slacking off. That old man Marcus might be clearing the 10th floor as we speak, and he wants 5 minutes. Kim covers his ears with a pillow. Looking at this, Emperor raises his voice. I am going to sing a song from my hometown until you wake up. And I warn you that I learned sound martial arts while I was alive, and I could decapitate at least 30 people with a single verse. Kim pushes the pillow, but he couldn't escape his voice, which was asking him if he even knows what time it is. Kim wakes up shouting and picks his phone. What time is it? He shows his phone to Emperor. It is still 4 o'clock a. You. Emperor sighs. Even bugs start to crawl at 4 o'clock a.m. And since you are weaker than a bug, you should wake up earlier. Kim again screams at him in frustration. You are just saying this because you are bored from your inability to sleep. I always wondered why King Sword always trained at 4 o'clock every morning, but it turns out it's not because he was hard-working, but he annoyed the sleep out of him. Emperor accepts that he woke Kim up because he was bored. Are you happy now? Thanks to that, Kim gets to wake up early and train. He tells him to thank him and bow down in front of him. Kim yells at him, I want to kill you! But Emperor Sword laughs. You can't kill someone who is already dead. And if you have a problem with that, why don't you try dying yourself? And mocks him. You can't even die either, even if you want to. You have become a zombie. And from now on, I am going to call you Zombie. Kim clearly didn't like it, as if his non-stop chatters were not enough already. The sun was rising behind Kim, and he was running while panting. Emperor Sword was just chilling while floating beside him. He goes near Kim's ear and calls him Zombie, reminding him that other than his perseverance, he doesn't have any talent. And I prefer to start teaching from the basics, but you are not at a level where it is possible yet. So somehow, you are a tier below being able to learn basics. It's been 4 days since he copied the skill from King Sword, and he killed Flame Emperor one more time since then, and he avoided the Sword Saint as much as possible. Emperor continues with his insult. You are a bottomless black hole, which is so cool that I am jealous of you. Kim tells him not to disturb him when he is running, but Emperor Sword continues. You need special guidance, and in order to receive special guidance, you need to pay a high tuition. He turns to Kim with a big smile and calls him Zombie. Let's go and win a lottery. In this era, there is a guild called Sang Ryan, which meant connected merchants, and their official name was Merchants Union. The guildmaster was a rank 3 hunter, countess, and she is the only one who possesses the skill that lets the user trade with the outside world. Due to this cheat skill, Sang Ryan has a monopoly on the tower's economy, and it became the only place in Babylon that sold lottery tickets. A man wearing a cat's hat greets them at the counter to the merchant union. What can I help you with? Kim hands him a ticket. I came to collect my lottery winnings. Catman laughs, congratulating him on winning the Sang Ryan's happiness lottery. Kim smiles. It is nothing. Emperor Sword tells Kim, I have been to this place several times, and I was always curious why all the people here wore cat ears. Kim tells him, I heard the master is a cat lady. Emperor Sword's reply was a classical emperor's reply. She likes cats so much that she made regular people wear cat ears. And he takes the guarantee. She was a pervert. The Catman was still laughing and asks him if he double-checked the date on his ticket because he can't redeem a ticket that he bought more than 2 years ago. This was the first thing he did after getting the guardian spirit. The Emperor Sword told him that he needed some capital, so he needed to win the lottery at least once. Kim laughs it off and hands the Catman another ticket. I bought it last week. The Catman was high because he was still laughing. He takes the ticket in his hand and goes to check it. After checking the ticket, he comes to his senses and was not high anymore because the lottery ticket was worth 53,000 gold coins and it was Sang Ryan's first-place prize. He continuously stares at the lottery and after a few moments announces, It is a first place. Everyone in the building begins to look at Kim in surprise. Or I don't know, because they don't have eyes and eyebrows. Emperor Sword laughs. Making money in this world is pretty easy. But in reality, it was something else. The Catman tells Kim, I have confirmed your number. Give me a second. I am going to call the manager right away. Kim tells him to take his time. Sword Emperor again calls him Zombie. What if they get robbed in the alleyway or somewhere else? Kim whispers to him, Before I came to this time, the rank 1 of my time had also used the skill to win some lotteries. And there was something I learned from him. This is not something that can be hidden, even if I tried. And if it is going to be revealed one way or another, then it is safer to just be open about it. And if a winner is attacked, the party that takes the hardest hit is the Sang Ryan Guild. The manager cat arrives and thanks them for waiting. I am the big cat here. His name was Arthur Taylor, and was also known as Safekeeper. But he tells Kim to feel free to call him by his alias. Kim also introduces himself and tells him that he has a fitting name for this guild. But he thinks to himself, if he has an alias, it means that he is at least in the top 300. Biga laughs. I hear that a lot. Come with me to the upper floors. Normally, an F-class like him would never get a chance to associate with a ranker. But today is different because today he was a customer worth 50,000 gold coins. Kim's face starts to shine as he lifts his collar. Sword Emperor tells him, it is really easy to impress him because he has never received this kind of treatment before. And reminds him of the time when Kim was touched when he called him talented. Kim gives him a deadly look. Can't you even shut up for a second? Emperor tells him, don't be a pushover. Take over him who believes that everyone in the world exists for him to step on. Kim thinks, if all the people with Emperor title are psychopaths, they are the people he will never want to take after. Manager turns around. Is there something wrong? Kim looks at him. Everything is fine. He just spaced out for a second. Manager was relieved to hear that because he thought someone treated him badly. Tears come out of Kim's eyes as no one gave him this much respect. He thinks if the manager was an angel. They stop outside of a VIP room. Manager opens the room and a bright golden light comes out of it. The manager shows Kim the chest which was filled with gold coins. This is the prize money, exactly 53,000 gold coins. This was the gold that equated to 5 million where he came from. With this amount of money, he can probably live a comfortable life for the rest of his life. And if success was his goal, then he has already achieved it. But he decides to reign over the tower as a hunter, so money is just a small step, because he has already experienced far more beautiful things than gold. He was still standing outside of the room. The manager tells him, "You can take all the money with you, or you can leave it to the Sangrian Guild safe." "What would you like to do?" Kim tells the manager, "I will keep the coins in Sangrian safe." Manager compliments him. It was a wise decision. I personally recommend that to all the winners because to take it with them is not safe. There are several bad people outside. Kim steps closer to the coins and tells the manager, "I want to buy Sangrian's honorary guild member title. And I am willing to pay the 10,000 gold coin fee up front for the second-class honorary member." Manager pulls out a diary from his jacket. "Are you already a member of any other guild?" Kim turns towards him and denies it. Sword Emperor was happy and compliments Kim. "You are smarter than I thought." A guild is not just a simple friends group for hunters. The biggest reason hunters join a guild is because they want to be protected. And he again compliments Kim for knowing this. Kim laughs and thinks, there are guards and the Hunter Association, but the city is too wild to rely on just the two of them. He can tell that from how Flame Emperor and King Sword killed him recently. The Flame Emperor was not bound to a guild and was proud of his freedom. He won the lottery twice, but he probably never paid a protection fee. And someone of his level rejecting all the guilds was bound to get on some of their nerves, and that's why he almost got poisoned. There was no reason to worsen his relationship with the big guilds just yet, because he is not foolish like Flame Emperor. He gets closer to the manager. "Add one more thing to the list." The manager agrees. "Anything for you, sir." Kim tells him, "I live in a tiny one-bedroom apartment right now. I am willing to pay you and ask you to get me a nice place to stay." As he writes that in his diary, Kim tells him, "If someone from the news asks who the first place winner was, then can you please let them know that it was an anonymous honorary member of the Sangrian Guild?" With this, the manager was left speechless, and while wiping his sweat, he compliments Kim. "You came prepared." Sword Emperor was standing next to the manager. Look at his face. He probably thought that you were a pushover. Kim explained to the manager, "It's a big world out there, and I did a little bit of preparation." The manager responds positively. But the Emperor had something else going on in his mind. He puts his hand on Kim's shoulder. "You are managing the situation pretty well on your own. I thought that I might have to change your diapers." In response, Kim whispers, "I will hate you less if you start to talk a little bit less." The Emperor laughs. "You look pretty happy too." Kim tells, "Of course I am happy because it is just the beginning. To reach here I had to go through 4,000 deaths and return to 4,000 days back in the past. And it is time to enjoy the power I couldn't relish because I was too focused on my revenge." While floating in the air, Sword Emperor tells his zombie, "Do you remember when I told you that tuition was the most important part of my lessons? And now you just got enough to pay for it." He then asks him what he thinks is the next step. Kim tells, "The next important thing is to find a competent teacher." Emperor shouts in his ears, "The competent teacher is standing right next to you. The next most important thing is textbooks and scrolls to teach martial arts skills, or the potions to boost his physical abilities. But at your level, you won't be able to learn anything by just reading the scrolls. So the only thing you can get is a potion, the extremely good ones." Kim puts his hand on his chest. "How good do the potions have to be?" Emperor puts pressure on his mind for a few moments. He recalls that the name of the shop was Alchemy Castle, and there were a bunch of healers and alchemists. Kim needs something made by the best person there, and he knows the store he can go to. Kim asks if those are expensive. Emperor replies, "They are crazy expensive. Do you want to know how much they will cost you?" In his ears, he tells Kim the price of one potion, and his expression changes. He stops the Emperor. "That would only get like 4 bottles with all the fortune I have." Emperor tells him, "You can get 5 if you manage to get a deal out of them. And if you want to blame, then just blame your lack of talent." And tells him to shut up and follow him. Kim was running behind the Emperor. "Slow down!" Emperor suddenly halts in the middle of the road, and Kim, who was running behind him, bumps into the ghost somehow. That's all in this video. I hope you like the video, and see you in the next one.